My name is Mark Jane Cubenzes. This is my path, my journey. I'm willing to explain it all to you guys. No holding back anything. I just hope you're ready for the experience, and I just hope you can handle it.
This is the weirdest trip I have ever had in my entire freaking life. Now, I know if you guys read the title, you already kind of have an idea. That is not clickbait, that is real shit. So, let's get into this. To get into this, I guess, the whole trip, I have to somewhat explain a shroom trip that I had real quick. I will have this whole shroom trip on another trip report, but to explain how I got to this point, I have to explain this. I did shrooms the night before, okay? And as I did shrooms the night before, I seen actually this couch wasn't here at the time. This was just the blank wall. So at the time, I was in a chair right over there, and I was looking at the wall, whatever. And as I was looking at the wall, there was two light beams in the wall from the shroom trip. It was like two beams, like like not physical, but like humanoid shaped beings that were inside of the wall. There were two of them. Okay. Now that's what I'm explaining from that trip. Now the next morning, I went to sleep. I woke up. My girlfriend went to work. When she went to work, I didn't go back to sleep. I just sat up. And back then I was still smoking weed like crazy, so I woke up and wake and baked, but I wake and dabbed all the time. So took a big ass dab, just dabbed it out, and then I wasn't gonna do DMT. Okay, this is actually the fourth or third trip out of a series of trips that I had. So that week I decided to do DMT once every other day. So that once every other day, it was the first trip was when I had my last trip about how I was with this female entity in space, and she was showing me these things, and like it wasn't like a female, she was a big blob of energy. But and then the second trip was I'll have another trip report about that, but it really wasn't that detailed, so I didn't really want to make a full trip report about that because it really wasn't that detailed. But that one just kind of went through the vortex sideways instead of the middle of the vortex. They took me to the vortex, the side. But this next trip kind of elaborated on all of those. Like it was almost like all three, four of these trips were connected because they were all connected to this female entity that I was meeting that I met, and it was just nuts. Okay, so what happened was I went to do the DMT. I did the dab, and then I ended up just laying back and thing, and I'm just thinking to myself, man, yeah, I'm high as fuck, but like being high as fuck isn't teaching me anything. So I wanted to do DMT because being high as shit doesn't teach you a damn thing, but you're high as fuck. I decided to take DMT, and I packed a nice thing of DMT, and I had a dabber rig that was like made out of a mason jar type shit. So, but I could replace it with I could smoke flower out of it. So what I did was I replaced it, and I ended up smoking DMT out of it. So I did that, and by doing that, I don't know, I got prepared and ready to do the DMT trip. I breathed, you know what I mean? I got myself calm, meditated a little bit, and got ready for it. So when I hit the DMT, this is what happened. I smoked the DMT. I took one big freaking rip on it. And like I said before, I got iron lungs. So like everybody says that DMT is harsh. Like it's not harsh to me. I have freaking iron lungs. So I took a big ass fucking rip of it, and then I held it for like 10, 15 seconds, blew that out, felt it really come on, really strong. You know, it starts the vortex, you starts forming, you start getting the feeling that you want to close your eyes and lay back, and like things start, you know, you start tripping hard and whatever. And then I hit it again really hard, and I ripped it. I mean, just ripped it so hard, like the thing just packed with like almost like yellowish smoke. You know, something like if you get a nice I don't know if you guys ever smoked out of 2 liter or bottles or anything that could compact a lot of smoke, compact the smoke so much that it starts to turn yellow. Well, that's what happened. And I hit that one really hard, held that, and that one blasted me. Okay, but it wasn't. Now, the vortex is there a lot of the times when you do DMT. because a lot of times the vortex is kind of how you get from point A to point B. Like it's like a road. You can't go from here to the store unless you went down the road. It's almost like you can't go from this dimension to that dimension without the vortex. But there's different ways to go through it. I didn't know that until this trip. Now remember when I said I went through the side of the vortex on the other trip? And except I flew through it, and they was just showing me the geometric shapes and symbols in the side of the vortex. Like I seen the vortex, then instead of going through it, I went boom, and then went through the side of it. Now, with this one, it was like I had a being with me. Okay, there was like this big being, this humanoid being, and this is why I mentioned the shroom trip that I had about the two beings that were on the wall, because I feel like it was them. It was them. Now, they were guiding me through this, okay? Now, as you usually go through the vortex, like if somebody was to do DMT and talk about the vortex, about 95 to 99% of the time, they're talking about flying through that vortex at warp speed, and it's like, okay, this time, okay, so if you think about it like this, there's light beings in that dimension, right? There's the noodleish light beings or the wavy noodle light beings, and then there's the higher light beings, okay? And then the higher light beings are more like Mother Ayahuasca, your guardians, your spiritual guardians, and things like that. Those are the higher light beings. So I feel like these are my spiritual guardians. And they were almost like showing me their way of how they get from point A to point B. Because I'm pretty sure the spiritual guardians don't always want to just fly through the vortex just to get from point A to point B. Because the vortex will let you off at certain different points. There's different spots it can let you off at. It's not always going to take you to the City of Light. It's not always going to take you to, show you the machinery. But this time, they took me basically through the back doorway of the vortex. Now, the back doorway of the vortex is, instead of going through the vortex straight on, you go through the vortex to the side, and then you have to go through it at 90-degree angles. So as I'm laying there, like I said, I hit it, and I'm laying on my bed, so I'm just laying back, and it's all my eyes closed, and I see the vortex, and as I thought I was going to go flying through it, that's when I seen them, and then they kind of redirected me towards their way, and then as I was going through the side of the vortex, they were taking me 90-degree angles, so I would go through the vortex. It was almost like you had to go through doorways. So the doorway would be like right here, but then the next doorway would be at this angle. The next doorway would be like upside down at that angle, and it would just keep taking me at different 90-degree angles through the doorways. And every doorway would be a different 90-degree angle, and a different 90-degree angle, and a different 90-degree angle, and it was really dizzying, getting me dizzy, and it was weird because with your eyes closed, you're thinking you're just flying through a vortex. Like, nah, like I really got a little dizzy, and I really got to the point where I thought it was upside down, and like if there is an upside down in that dimension, just to go through the doorway, and then sometimes it'd be like the doorway would be like just almost like, you ever seen stairways like that, those interdimensional stairways? I'll show a picture of the interdimensional stairways, but it was like the doorways were like that, where it was like the stairways were at different angles, but the doorway of going through the vortex of the colorful vortex was just of the geometric shapes and stuff were just different angles and different angles. And as I got there, I finally got to this room, almost like. It's not like they weren't taking me to the city. They took me to this room, and I say room because what else can you explain it as, really? But this room this is where the beings were more preferably in front of me instead of behind me, because it was like I was being guided through this, and I didn't really look up, I guess, and whatever, but I could tell that somebody was guiding me through this. But as I got to this room, the two beings were standing there exactly how they were on the shroom trip the night before. And I mean, exactly. It's not like they could have been the same beings. They were the same beings. They were exactly the same. And now, as I was seeing them, things started getting weird in that dimension, okay? So I started getting this weird body feeling, and then then I decided to just wake up out of it, okay? So then I got up out of it. And then, me being me, me not knowing when enough is enough, and that's why I say, guys, don't do what I do. Nobody do what I do. Don't do what I do. Just Just take notes, I guess. I don't know, because this was crazy. This is when things got really fucking weird. So I came back out of that and I opened my eyes and sat back up because it started wearing off. But I was still tripping so hard that when I sat up, it was almost like I was still laying down in a way. Like I sat up, but then it was like I would duplicate as I was sitting up, and it was like I was trailing so hard, and I was still tripping to the point where I'd open my eyes and that dimension was still there. Like I was still there. I could barely see this physical dimension. And then I waved my hand in front of my face because I did shrooms the night before, so I was like, okay, like trailing on DMT is so, at least that much DMT is so more intense than trailing on shrooms, or at least I only took 2 grams of shrooms, so it wasn't really that hard of a trip, but still, it was just really fucking intense still. So as I was still tripping extremely hard, I decided to hit the DMT one more time because there was still some in the bowl, and me being me and not knowing when enough is enough. So I decided to hit it again. And this is when things got extremely weird. So when I hit it again, I managed to I blasted again. Like I was just gone. Just gone. So as I was going in that dimension again, there was no vortex per se. I went back to that same space where that female entity was. And now I could feel her presence. It was almost like it was crazy. I could feel her presence. I could feel her touch. I could feel her essence. I could feel everything about her. I felt the love for her. I felt the love she had for me. I remembered that she probably is the almighty girlfriend, or whatever you want to call it, the lover, the almighty lover, and I'm the almighty whatever, and we will one day be together again. But like, I felt her presence so hard, and like I seen her, and it was this time she wasn't a big blob. She was a female entity, a beautiful whatever. It wasn't like Mother Ayahuasca, which I've seen before, which I have another trip report on my YouTube page about that. It was like she was a lot more of a girlfriend essence instead of a motherly essence. She was a lot more of trying to comfort me in like the love type of way that a girlfriend would, instead of the love type of way that a mother would. And as I was in this dimension, it's not like I was flying through it, geometric patterns and shapes. I was in this room, and geometric patterns and shapes and colors were literally the wall. The walls were the patterns, and like I was in this room with her. And then all of a sudden, I just wake out of it like this. The trip just ended, but the trip didn't end, because as I woke out of it, I started getting this weird feeling in my chest. And it was like this weird love feeling, like when you hug your girlfriend or hug your wife and you just love her, and then it's just that love feeling, That started getting so intense that it started moving. It started moving down, 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 down. And as it was right below my belly button, it got so intense that it started to feel good in a way. And as it started to feel good in a way, of course, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm sorry, I'm going to get a little graphic on this one, and hold your egos off, and hold your negative opinions off, and hold your whatever, because I know how people can be. But this is just my experience. I'm telling you my experience of what happened. I didn't ask for this to happen. I didn't ask for any of this to happen. I didn't think things like this happened on DMT. Apparently, I don't know anything about DMT, even though I've done it so many times. But what happened was, as I woke out of it, I ended up like curling myself into the bed, like curling myself into a ball on the bed, because I was in so much ecstasy that it was crazy. I've never felt this on a psychedelic in my life, and I don't know if anybody else has, and I don't know. This is fucking crazy. But what I felt was, I'm just going to say it, what I felt was an orgasm. That's just what happened. I don't know. I got an erection, and I had an orgasm without, what normally happens on an orgasm, everybody fucking knows. But like, it was the feeling of it. And it lasted 5 minutes. Lasted up to 5 minutes after the DMT trip. I'm still curled up in a ball, like just like twitching and having this orgasmic feeling from the universe. And it was so intense that it was crazy. I cannot explain it. I've never had anything like that happen to me on DMT. I've never heard anybody talk about that on DMT. Everybody talks about all this other stuff. I don't know. I don't know. And I've done DMT since then, and I haven't seen this female entity since then. I haven't seen this female being since then. I haven't. The trips are going back to normal, I guess. Which what is normal on DMT? But like, I don't know. That was the craziest thing that's ever happened to me on DMT. I've never experienced anything like that, and probably never will again. It was weird. It was completely weird. And I'm sorry for getting graphic with you guys, but I'm just telling you guys what happened to me. This is my story, and this is my trip, my weirdest trip I've ever had in my entire life. Um, and as I don't know, as it started to wear off, you know what I mean. I started to feel normal again, whatever. But like, I was just in total just shock. Like, I'm like, what the fuck was that? And I just started cracking up, dying, laughing, like, oh my fucking god, what was that? Like, I'm just, I don't know. But thank you guys for watching. If you want to subscribe, that'd be amazing. I have a lot of trip reports, and I won't have any more trip reports like this probably. But thank you. Until next time.